There are many famous street courses all around the United States, but there's one that definitely comes to mind anytime anyone mentions street racing here in the United States, and that is the Long Beach Street Circuit. Hosting Formula One events since 1976, it has eventually transitioned over to IndyCar racing and has stuck there ever since around the 1980s. It's been a crown jewel, effectively, in everything but name on the IndyCar calendar, pretty much being the second most popular event next to the Indy 500. We're going to be here tonight now for round number 14 here for the Indy Elite Series. My name is Finikuda here with Connor Horn. Glad to have you, Connor, with me not only for tonight, but as well for the rest of the season due to the way scheduling is working out. And I'm sure you're going to be happy to be here because the championship battle is closing up here, and this competition, this series, is fantastic.
Yeah, it's heating up big time. It's heating up so much I can hardly breathe properly, and that's why I'm a little choked up. But it's still going to be a pretty wild end to this season. Only 3 races to go, including today here at Long Beach, but we still got Barber Motorsports Park and then the 9th running of the Indianapolis 500 in about a month's time, the month of May. No time sweeter for IndyCar racing, so that should be pretty exciting, but this is going to be exciting as well. Just about a 2-mile racetrack. Long Beach produces action no matter what car really comes here, but the IndyCar puts on the best show, no doubt about it. 10 turns, and it's a pretty incredible track. I remember when it was just a tech track and there was really nothing around it. Now you can see the entire skyline, you can see everything, and it is beautiful, and we're going to see some great action today. Yeah,
you're going to see some great action here. We're already going to kick down to the track qualifying, already kicking off a couple drivers out there on the track, getting their flying laps in, and it's going to be crucial to make sure that they can nail this qualifying here. It's going to be hard to pass here. It's not completely impossible compared to some other street circuits around the world. It's tight, but it's definitely possible to make moves here. Looking at Jacob Oster, you can see him sliding the rear tires out and now in through one of the other back straights, and even sliding out of that corner right there. Always the car on edge. Oster pushing pretty hard at the moment. He is currently sitting in P3 with a 106.7, trying to see if he can improve that time.
And we'll see if he's able to improve. There's been so many winners at this track in this series history. I count 7 just off of Sim Racer Hub alone. One of those being Brandon Trano, Philip Kraus, Joshua Chin, Wyatt Gooden, just a few names who have won here. But really, he's gonna. Oh, he tried to. You know what he did? He tried. I don't know if he tried to get I think he tried to get another fresh lap, and he crossed the line. So I think that's his cue done.
I think that's done for him. Andres, I can see him slow out off after the front straightaway, and he's going to be done for qualifying here. Trying to look and see if we have where is Brendan Trano? Has he put a lap in? He's out of there on the track at the moment. No time for first lap number 2. He's out there at the moment working through the back half of the track, trying to see if he can finish off this lap. Will this lap be good? He's got a lot to make up for because he had a pretty decent lead going to Texas, Connor, but ended up getting involved in a wreck. It put him down the order. The gap is much closer now.
And a crash with Dan Ench is what took him out of that race. He goes top of the board, a 1 minute 6.179. And if the practice times are any indication, it's going to be between Trano and Steele, even today's race as well, as Trano goes for his 3rd and final lap. It was a crash that took him out, and on top of that, it was Christian Steele getting the checkered flag after some beating and banging stock car style in the turn number 1 in the final lap at Texas. Steele came out the victor, deemed a racing incident, so he got as many points gained as he probably could have on Trano, and that's huge coming into the last 3 races of the season. Oh, Trano's going to spin, and that's going to be his cue over. Thankfully, he doesn't need to replace that wing to start at the front.
Christian Steele out there on the racetrack. Connor, just confirm for me, these drivers have more than 2 qualifying laps?
They will have 3 at their disposal.
3, okay, so I just wanted to clarify on that. Usually the standard is 2, but I see everyone trying to get in 3rd laps. Of course, we saw the big braking from Oster, trying to see if he can nail 1 more lap, and unfortunately cross the line. So he's going to be done for qualifying. But Christian Steele, chasing down Brandon Trano, he's trying to see if he can nail qualifying here. Going very slow, trying to preserve the tires. Also, big thing, if you notice, before he goes on his flying lap, an update to the Indy cars since we were last out. We got the green sidewall tires that they use on the street courses only here. So just a visual update. I don't think there's any change in the actual tire itself. On our timing screen, everything else it still shows as red. But so we got the green wall tires, of course, the black wall tires, and Connor, of course, that's going to lead to some interesting strategy to see how these guys, because they do have to change between both tires during the race.
Yeah, we saw back at Laguna Seca, we saw not too. The strategy wasn't very split. You'd usually see all the drivers start on the red compound. We'll see what the case is with the tire today, but I wouldn't expect to be a lot of drivers to be off strategy, as you'll see what Christian Steele can do on his final flying lap. I saw Robert Malechka went up to 4th on his final time. There's not too many cars left on track. Lorenzo Bonder, Akabuezi just came in. He is 6th. He's actually going to have one more lap. But most of the drivers have already done. Steele's trying to get that incredibly crucial pole position.
He's trying, and he's honestly one of the closest because he's just 22 thousandths of a second off the pole time. However, this lap not necessarily looking the best. Maybe he can nail a better exit out of the final corner. It's going to be potentially close. Nope, he's going to give up. Wasn't good enough for him. Christian Steele's going to call it an effort, and he will retire to the pits. Hamilton Akabuezi, we've seen this car can be quick, and we know Hamilton Akabuezi was pretty quick from the Super Formula Series, so he's got the road courses nailed down pretty good. Decently quick in the Indy cars as well, so if he can get a solid lap in here, he should be good. He's on a warm-up lap at the moment. Then he'll be flying on his next and final attempt. We'll just have enough time to get one more lap in. A couple drivers I haven't seen get a time in. Rayshad Craigie's out there, got a big penalty heading out of Texas for jumping the start. He was relegated from 4th back to 14th, so lost out on quite a few good points, with that being an official Triple Crown race for the Indy Elite Series. So lost out a lot of points, hoping to improve. Has not got a time in on the board, not for lack of trying though. He's already had one. This is lap number 2, looking to nail it on lap 3.
We'll see what type of line he takes to get a run onto the main straightaway. Like I expected, very wide, trying to utilize all the pavement on the exit, even leaving tire tracks, just trying to get it turned. I saw Akabuezi do the same exact thing, and that's what made me think that Rashad Craig would do the same thing. So we'll see if that works for the 21. Trying to see if he put a time down. He did not. You said it!
Oh, no! I really wish he held it. That was a perfect cut to him drifting out of the corner, but unfortunately it's going to be tapped to the wall and time retired for the 107 of Akabuezi. So he's going to have to settle for 6th position. Pedro Blevel is coming across the line now in the number 96. This will be to end his run, I believe.
Both times I saw a 96 on pit road. It just was fuel burning.
And
so
it looks like that lap didn't count, so he's going to be done for his attempts.
Practice.
Rayshad Craig's the only one out on the track trying to put a lap down at the moment. It looks like everyone else is going to be just hanging out in the pits. They're going to be electing to start from the back. A bit of an interesting choice because, honestly, I would say it's worth trying to qualify here again. Not hard, not impossible to pass, but definitely you're going to have to work for it. Through the final corner goes Rayshad Craig, assuming the rest of this lap went well. Should be good enough time to be on the board. The question is going to be, is it quick? Comes across the line, 107.3 for him. That'll put him just around 11th midfield.
Yeah, so it's not too terrible, but right around the mid-pack, and you probably have the highest probability of being in something on the very start. It's going to be very crucial, as any track, as any race here in an IndyCar at Long Beach, but especially here because it gets tight in a hurry. Once you go around the fountain section, it gets tight, so you do not want to be 2x2 once you get through there. You're going to lose a lot of time.
And taking a look here at qualifying results, Brandon Trano going to be taking yet another pole this season, but it's very close. It's going to be really interesting to watch these two go at it. Christian Steele right behind him, a couple thousandths of a second behind. Ike, Malechka, Carey, Akabuezi, Oster, Blevel, Burrell, and Altona will round out the top 10 here as qualifying comes to an end.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. A very crucial start for those two to see who can get the jump on one another. Steele's going to be trying everything he can. If he doesn't get in front of Brandon Trano, to just try to stay close to him before pit stops. That's really where this race could be won and lost, as we've seen.
I just want to give a shout out before we go to the green to our sponsor for this race, and that is Penguin RC Simulations, and you can reach out to them for all your sim racing accessory needs. You can check them out at penguinrc.com. A lot of sim racing accessories here. They've been in the game for a long time. They sponsored the Ferrari Challenge Series from Scars way back in the day, about 6 years ago now, which feels like forever ago. They've been making accessories ever since. So please check them out here. And we'll go down to the grid here. We got qualifying done, and now the grid to go through, and we'll start with our pole sitter again, Brandon Trano, Christian Steele. Going to be interesting, especially into turn one for both these drivers.
Going to be interesting between those two as well. Andreas Ike in behind, also be interesting to see what he can do from the 3rd position. Robert Malechka in his final lap of qualifying got up to 4th.
Moving on back to 5th place, Brian Carey's going to be lined up in the 79. Hamilton Akabuezi, that car looks quick. Probably could have qualified quicker, but stuck back in 6th. We'll see what he can do from there.
Got to be careful not to hit the wall in the dirty air. We'll see what he can do. Jacob Oster will start 7th with a minute 6.745. That's the time he put down. Pedro Blebel, who did not get a clean 3 laps down, he'll start 8th tonight.
Moving on back to 9th is going to be Kevin Burrell in the 52. Next to him, Julian Alton going to line up, rounding out the top 10 in the 11 car.
And Rashad Craig, the number 21, we saw really the last driver to put a time down. He'll start in the 11th position. Andrew Wood, the number 64, will start 12th.
Moving on back to 13 is going to be Jesper Orman in the number 53. Next to him, David Adams lined up in the 00 in 14th.
Some of the last drivers put a time down here. Seb Alexander will start 15th. Joe Branch, number 28, will start 16th.
Moving on back to 17th is going to be Mark Murphy lined up in the 69 car. Next to him, Lorenzo Bonder in 18th and 37.
The 142, a red livery on this Indy car. Paolo Vinicius starts 19th. Gary Laverne starts 20th.
Moving on back to 21st is going to be John Christensen in the 67. He'll be rounding out our field here as the field is rolling off and away. Everyone getting their tires warmed up, ready to go. Speaking of warm, let's see how the weather is out on the racetrack. Air temp 24 degrees Celsius, track temp 37.8. So warm day, of course, no threat of rain for now for this season for these cars. We'll see what the future has in stores on that front here as they work here now through the final few corners. Not a whole lot of time to get the tires warmed up, so they're going to have to be careful heading through the first few corners.
Yeah, that's what's really going to mix things up. A short pace lap is going to make these tires very cold in turn number 1. Got to be careful with your braking zone, especially around other cars.
Off and away they go, and the green flag is out here at Long Beach for round number 14. Already Brandon Trano jumping on the push to pass, heading off into turn 1. Christian Seal following him as well with the push to pass, and a big dive from the 91. Robert Mlachka trying to take over second place. Can't get it done. Will have to pull back in line for the fountain.
He knew that was a big opportunity, just couldn't get it done as we see 2 wide, Blebel and Ike side by side through the fountain section. They made it work, but loses a lot of time doing so as the top about 5 got away because of it.
Yeah, I was going to say there's going to be a lot of time lost to have a chance to make it up. And speaking of making up, look at Hamilton Akways. They're already up 2 spots after only half a lap. This car looking very quick.
Yeah, I did a great job. He went around the outside, I believe, of Andreas Ike in turn number 1 and got positioning through that section of the track. And look at the gain he's already made because of that.
Kevin Burrell, I see him on the push to pass. The leading driver on the black ball tires. The slower tire. Oh, and he's going to lock up and into the barrier. And a big amount of damage to the nose of that car. And he's going to have to immediately come to pit lane.
Well, that's kind of the risk of having that tire. You don't have as much grip, and you're trying to follow the guys on the fresher tires.
And he was on the push to pass, too. And the big thing is you have to account for that. You got to brake just a little bit early. And unfortunately, just that modicum of factors might have right front or left front suspension damage. Oh, he's continuing on.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm shocked by that. Maybe
he might
we
not
don't
realize that he's missing the wing, maybe.
That or we see something differently. It's always possible.
It would have fixed itself by now. That's unfortunate to see. Although you probably realize the huge amount of downforce loss. There aren't a whole lot of high downforce corners, but you can definitely feel it in the medium downforce corners around here. So we'll keep an eye on Burrell to see how he continues on. Meanwhile, the top 4 all nose to tail own the quicker tires. So now with Burrell out of the race, now Julian Alton leading the charge on black primaries. Then it's Rashad Craig right behind. Then Andrew Wood, Orman all on the green wall. Alternate tires, and they're trying to push hard. And the key thing is for these guys to get quickly past the guys on the primaries.
And Burrell reset once he realized he had an issue, so his race might just be completely done. So yeah, we're going to see how long these drivers on the green wall tires want to go on this stint. Don't really know what kind of performance we're going to see, but you're stuck in dirty air. It might not matter what tire you're in. You might just want to undercut, but we've seen overcuts work in the past.
We have seen it work in the past. Again, it's all going to come down to some strategy here. If you can't pass them out on the track, you can try to pass them in the pit lane, especially again with the tires, the way you can make them work. As Andrew Woods working in behind Craig and Altona, taking a look back at the drivers in behind Akaboise, Andreas Ike in 5th, down 2 spots, Blebel up 2 spots in the 96 machine, and was able to get around Brian Carey and Jacob Oster.
He was able to get around, so he had pretty strong start to the race, but you're seeing things start to get spread out pretty early. Not really many battles forming quite yet, although I have seen some drivers get close to the wall. Julian Altona was one I saw get close to the barrier. I don't know if that was 4 or 5, but he might have tapped it. He lost momentum, and now here comes Rashad Craig looking for 9th.
Looking to the outside of Julian Altona, is on the push to pass, trying to make it work, is going to almost go into the wall, it's going to open up the door. Andrew Wood tries to go for a move, he gets a hip check to the outside, only going to get passed by Orman. Oh, and he's going to have a very awkward entry into the hairpin, and will just about just navigate on through, and I can imagine he's not going to be a happy camper.
No, not at all. Craig was not able to make that work, and I think because he took another a straight line here, he just couldn't turn in, and Wood was the innocent bystander. Then Andrew Wood does the same thing here. That's almost the point where you almost create a track blocker on accident, but it wasn't the case. But
and also more bad news to him, he just got passed by Seb Alexander, who got a much better run out of the hairpin on the front straightaway. So he's on through. Wood back to 13th. Imagine a little bit hot under the hood, but as a driver, especially on a street course like this, where you really can't afford to make a mistake, you need to just kind of keep yourself calm and collected and let the race come to you.
Yeah, definitely something you need to focus on, especially at a track as this, as Andreas Ike is kind of stacking things up. Pedro Blebel and Carey behind him. Ryan Carey also kind of stacked up. This is for 5th as Ike almost clipped that tire barrier.
Lock up as well. It's going to be a matter of getting on the power. Andreas Ike on the push to pass. Blebel also on push to pass, trying to get away from one another.
That was behind. That's why I thought he almost clipped the tire barrier, because he almost did hit it at another part of the track, but Ike just trying to hold on as Carey falls back. Blebel's pretty fast at this point in the run. Ike, whoa, he really slid the car into turn 1, but it worked. Oh my gosh, I thought he was crashed.
Playing with inches around a track like this, Ray-Shot Craig still trying to push towards Julian Altona, but he's got to be very careful. It's so easy to overstep the bounds, especially on these black primary tires. You can easily push them way beyond their limits, demanding more grip, especially with someone threatening you from behind. So he's looking out in front, looking in behind the mirror, can't get distracted, otherwise that's going to be race over very easily. And it looks like in the background, Andrew Wood, he's gotten past Orman. So he's, gone past Seb Alexander, back into 12th for him.
And Altona's still kind of stacking up that battle for 9th with Rashad Craig. And now Jesper Orman is in that battle as well, as Andrew Wood, because of that incident a few laps ago, has fallen off that, what I would call a 3-car line, but it seems like Altona's definitely the cork in the bottle, and it's only a matter of time before it pops, as Rashad Craig, I think, is faster, but you gotta get a run out of one of these corners to make that pass work. We'll see if he tries push to pass here to try to get that run.
He's on push to pass. Altona is not. He's actually not even touched the button at all this race, and this can be a great opportunity for Craig to make a move. Altona taking the middle of the track, and it just leaves some room. A little bit of contact side by side. Into turn 1, the 21 will muscle his way on through. Can he brake in time? He will. Here comes Altona again, back on him through the fountain. Can't fit 2 cars through there. Altona has to yield.
That was incredible stuff. Altona gave him just enough room to make that move. They made contact, but then he went a little bit too deep into that corner that Craig did, but just wasn't enough room, and he was not going to give that room for Altona to keep him too wide through the fountain, and Altona had to yield. No way they were going to make that work.
This again. This is fantastic stuff right here. There's the side-by-side contact between both of them. This is what I was worried, that deep dive into turn 1. Many people outmaneuver themselves here, and then the side-by-side action back again through the fountain, and able to hold it on through. Great job by the 21 of Craig to keep that going. And here comes Orman and Altona. Orman just going to snake his way on through. He also used the push to pass. Altona's still not using anything.
Yeah, Altona's just kind of staying put right now. I think he is trying to check. I think he is on the Blackwall tires, so maybe still at a little bit of a disadvantage at this point. Maybe just biding his time and just trying to keep them at an arm's length, maybe, because he knows he's probably going to have the better rubber to the end of this race.
It makes sense. He's going to try to make the passes with the faster tire compound on that car. And like you mentioned, just kind of biding his time. Not a terrible strategy. We'll see what he does. Been playing it conservative here in the early parts of this race. One driver who isn't playing it necessarily conservative is Brendan Trano, up in the lead, has not been touched at all since the drop of the green flag. A decent lead. See everyone getting awfully close to the concrete.
An issue in turn 5. I think saw Oster drop down the order. I think he had a spin out of 5. He is 9 seconds slow on this lap, so definitely had a problem at some point. Actually stayed 8th, I think, because he was far ahead.
Let's see here. He was in behind Brian Carey, so he didn't lose a position, but went over the curb, his car upsettled, and around he went for a bit of a half spin. And yeah, had actually a big gap to work with and get the car turned back around.
Yeah, so fortunate he had such a gap ahead that he didn't lose any positions, but he lost a lot of time, as it looks like Robert Balechka is going to yield to Akabuezi here for the 3rd position. Didn't really want to fight that one.
Nope, and let the 107 on by. So Mleczka down to fourth, Akboise up to third. And another exchange for position. So Akboise now can try to chase down Christian Steele. He's got about a 3-second gap between them both. Whoa, using up all the racetrack there.
One of the best parts of this track is just you have no room for air, so you're going to see these guys centimeters away from these walls, from the tire barriers, all around the track. Every corner exit, you are pushing the limits, and even the entry, you'll get very close to that inside wall, especially in the turn number 8 there, that right-hander, because you saw Akboise do the same thing. And we'll see if he can stay keeping pace with those top two, because they're setting a blistering pace. They're 5 seconds clear of Hamilton right now.
Yeah, now he's got some clean air to work with, so we'll see if he can show it on the timesheets that he can push this car further.
Jesper Orman making a pass. That's for the 9th position, so Orman by the 21.
Yeah, and again, Orman just making his way on through. Wood and Altona side by side. Hello.
They bang side pods there. I think that was late from Wood. They're really going to stack up out of the corner. Altona almost chopped him off the exit, and he's going to get away from Andrew Wood because of that. Now Andrew Wood's going to be in trouble with Seb Alexander. This is tight racing. I love it.
That always makes me very nervous to see a car turn across the nose like that. Yeah, it could have easily been Wood losing a front wing there, but they just managed to not make contact, and Seb Alexander not able to capitalize like he did the previous time. Take a look back and see what happened. These are the two passes we missed. There's Rayshad Craig getting past, or Orman getting past Rayshad Craig. Here's the side-by-side action with Wood and Altona here, and they got very close together. There's a little bit of netcode contact between the two, but enough to register. And then here, this is where it gets so tight.
Yeah, they
right
both
there.
fucked up. They both fucked up trying to send it in that corner. Altona did that in defense, and you could see how much brake they're using. The brake rotor's glowing, which you see right there even. It's not something you're really accustomed to seeing in an Indy car, but these guys are on the pedal today because you got to get into a corner very, very fast here as Trano's starting to open that gap up for the lead.
Opening that gap up more. Still close, though, only just under a second and a half. Taking a look at these two, because I imagine Wood really wants to start to get by. You can see the brake rotors glowing there in that shot. Out of the hairpin onto the front straightaway. This is his best chance, and he will be on the push to pass. I don't know if he's close enough between the push to pass and the slipstream to get there in time, unless he's going to make a very late lunge. Here he goes. There he gets the overspeed. And
no.
You know,
but you can see
he's tempted.
He's tempted because he wants to get going because they're stacked up behind him as well. Altona's definitely kind of just off the pace on this Blackwall tire. And Seb Alexander, he's also on the Blackwall tire. He's actually showing much more pace. At least last lap he was a little slower. But when they get tight in the corners battling like this, it brings Alexander and David Adams into this fight.
Trying to get closer here, and Andrew Wood trying to get up. Wood. These guys cutting these apexes so close together. Taking a look a little bit further up the order. Another close battle lurking is Andreas Ike trying to hold off Pedro Blevel, and Brian Carey a little bit further in behind. 5th, 6th, and 7th respectively for all three of these drivers.
Yeah, it's definitely, besides the battle for 11th, it's the closest battle on the track, but not quite close enough. Blevel isn't quite close enough to make a lunge into turn 1 for 5th. As you got 3 cars under blanket here, you got about 2. Let's say it's about a 2-car battle here with Wood and Altona in the back of this. But still, Andrew Wood just not able to close the deal.
Gaps have separated out quite a bit, and I think this is part of the frustration for Wood, too. He's now 24 seconds behind the leader, behind the driver on a slower compounded tire. And he just kind of wants to get going in the right direction. He still has to pass 2 more drivers on the black primary tires before he even gets to the first driver on the alternates. So I imagine just wants to get this over with. I guess the option could be maybe he could pit early and try to, switch it up, get past Altona and get himself some clean air to work with. But Wood, though, on the push pass again, down to now 5 uses. And
you don't want to be
get by.
Here we might have a run here. Blevel's got a big run this time, and I don't know if Ike's going to be able to defend this. We'll definitely see him on the push to pass, trying to get this position away. They're going to be side by side, but Blevel's going to have it. And Ike didn't put up too much of a fight there. I think he knew the position was pretty much conceded, so that's a change for the 5th position, as Wood, once again, not quite close enough to battle Altona in the turn number 1, even behind this.
Yeah, and there they go again. And Wood he's still stuck in behind Altona. Altona putting up a great defense. Got to get committed to him. You know, we saw that he's not necessarily trying to block people in behind, but he's obviously not, you know, pulling to the right and letting them on through. He's trying to defend this position as much as he can, and he's doing a great job of just making that car as wide as possible and fast enough on the primaries to keep faster drivers in behind. You saw a bit of a slip from Andrew Wood.
It's kind of what he has to do at this point, because you'd think soon enough that there would be a little bit of a crossover period where the black wall will become a little bit faster, and at least even with the green wall tires, but it just doesn't seem like it's happening for him quite yet. Andrew Wood's still pressuring him big time, although they are pulling away from Seb Alexander, who's on the black wall. Same thing for David Adams is on the green wall, but these two are at least pulling away, but Alton's doing a great job keeping some track position at this point in the run.
Wood on a best run out of the hairpin. We'll check in on how our leaders are doing again. Brandon Treno ahead by now 2 seconds, the gap between himself and Christian Steele. Steele, I can't imagine maybe not necessarily pushing too hard at the moment, but just keeping in Treno in the gap. And I think that's the big thing. You know, you don't need to be right in behind the leader, but managing that gap is going to be a key thing. And then, of course, the strategy, undercut or overcut.
Tough to say. I think for Steele at this point, you're pretty much only battling the guy ahead of you. He's got 3.5 seconds on Ekaboise, but he's still within 2 seconds of Treno. I guess it really depends on what tire you want to cross over to on this middle stint. That might decide what you try to do. I'm not sure which strategy's better one way or the other.
So almost identical lap times for both of them. Last time through only off by a couple hundredths of a second. That's how close they are up at the front. Hamilton Akaboese actually ran slightly faster. He ran 0.003 of a second faster than Brandon Treno last lap through, but you know, that's not really going to matter a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but he's holding pace with them. He's managing that gap. Like, it's expanded a little bit since he was elevated up to third place, but also, again, keeping the leaders at bay. As you can see him behind as well, the rest of the front runners, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Still nose to tail. Bubble's been managing this gap pretty well. Hasn't had any threats from Ike or Carey in behind. If anything, Ike's been drifting a little bit more into Brian Carey's neck of the woods.
Yeah, Blubble got by Andreas Ike. Ike not really able to keep pace at this point in the run. Bubble's had a good start. He's one of the biggest movers today. He's up 3 spots from 8th. Ekaboise is up 3 spots from 6th. Jesper Orman started 13th, and he's up to 9th. So really, he's the biggest mover as a few battles starting to fizzle out. Altona's actually, I think we are at that crossover period where he is pulling away.
That was Mark Murphy just in the walls, looking at it right here, heading into turn 1. Headed in a little bit too hard, and we've seen this is a very common wreck here at Long Beach.
Oh, gosh, he hit harder than I thought. I saw them make contact with Lorenzo Bonder a few laps ago, but he was doing fine. But I think he got some wing damage from that. Could have contributed to that. His race is pretty much all but done. The right front completely broken.
So Long Beach has claimed another driver. Kevin Burrell retired early on, and I think Mark Murphy will join him in the pits for now. Taking a look back at the battle with Altona and Wood, and it looks like it's actually starting to expand out a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see that crossover you mentioned before.
Yeah, this is what I was about to say until we saw that crash. I think we're at that point where the black wall might be the tire with the most pace at this point, starting to put a gap on Andrew Wood, and Wood can't do too much about it. Seb Alexander was about even with the last time by, although he was at least half a tenth faster than Alta last time by, but he's not able to put pressure and challenge the 11 like he was earlier, so I think we're definitely at that point where these drivers might start thinking about getting on a different compound.
And the big thing too, especially with the faster alternate tires, is that they start to get really slick in the later part of the run. They start to get really hot, especially if you're forcing the car. You can see the back end slide around. You see quite a few drivers do that when they're really pushing hard, and you really got to, again, reel yourself in, manage these tires a little bit better. See Brian Carey, he was on the push to pass here at the end of the straightaway, catching up to Andreas Ike. Jesper Orman, he's also on the button, but nowhere else in sight is another driver except for Jacob Oscar, just up the road 2 seconds.
This is probably the closest battle on the track between these three, but I don't think Blebel's going to be giving it away anytime soon. As trying to look at, I don't know who would be the furthest up driver on the black wall. Is it Altona or is it Rashad Craig?
It is Rashad Craig in the 21 machine. He's about 4.5 seconds up from Julian Altona.
We're 16 laps in, about to be 17 laps in. Still no budging Only drivers who have hit pit road are the drivers out of the race.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the window should be opening up, right? Because I think we're looking at 2 stops for this race.
Yeah, we would probably...
You want to start to think of pitting now, I think, or around now.
Yeah, if you're doing 2 stops, if you're going to do somewhat evenly, this is around the time when you'd want to come down. No doubt about it. As it's like Gary Lovern just let one of the lead lap cars, he let Oster by. He's a little bit off the pace. As it seems like Andrew Wood listened to us and he found something. As that battle with Ike is heating up, Andrew Wood's kind of reeled back in the 11 a little bit.
Still trying to catch it alternate. He's close, but not close enough.
Just trying to scare him because no chance you make that move work.
He wants to. He so wants to throw it in there, but you throw it in there like that, you're just going to end up in the tire barrier, so you can't. You have to be a little bit more cautious, and Wood's, I think, starting to run out of patience.
We do have our first pit stop, but it's Paolo Vinicius in 18th, so he does have some wing damage. That could be a part of it as well on the black wall tire.
So he's coming in. Be one of the first drivers to hit pit lane besides those that have retired, as the leaders work their way on by. Gap actually has come down just a little bit. Steele and Trano running almost identical times, but it's come down a little bit under 2 seconds now, so that gap is being managed pretty well. And actually extended away from Hamilton Akabueze, who's drifted a little bit further back from these two. Whoa, it's really close. Thought I heard him into the... It's amazing how close these guys are getting to the wall that iRacing is thinking they're hitting the wall with their production netcode, but they're not actually hitting it. You can just hear the sound effects.
Means you're doing it right. You're using the ball to you can. So on a road course, that's usually a good thing. You usually don't want to get that close on an oval, but that's all good. As he's on his own, kind of just cruising. Probably not going to have anything for the top 2, but it doesn't seem like anyone behind him has much for him. So he should be in a pretty good spot on his way, maybe, most likely to a podium. As I think Lorenzo Bonder pit as well. He's another one who had wing damage. Still no one else.
Still waiting on more drivers to come down to pit lane. I'm very confident that they have to make 2 stops. I don't think you can go 25, or even more than that, 28 laps. Yeah, I think that's a little bit too far. So I think we're going to start to see a slow trickle of drivers onto pit lane. Of course, they've already have their strategies planned out. I think what we're going to see, too, is a lot of drivers try to stick it out on the alternates as much as they can, because they don't want to be on the primaries, because that is still the slower tire. You know, comparison, we'll compare, again, it's comparing 2 different drivers, but we'll compare the lap times regardless. This deep into the run. We still have the leaders running their best times. Brandon Trainer running 107.9. He's only 0.6 of a second off of his fastest time. Compare that to Rayshad Craig, 108.7. Nearly a second off, about 0.8 of a second, 0.9 of a second slower. Their best laps compare.
And it just doesn't seem like there's not many drivers who are on the black wall that started near the front, really, either. I think one of them was the 25, or no, excuse me, the 52 of Burrell, but he's out of the race because he was on that tire, just didn't have the grip, pushed him past. We noted all those potential possibilities, but it just doesn't seem like it's a pace tires. Trano's going to come in. He's going to be really one of the first leader to come in, and he is the race leader. And
the big thing is the race leader now goes to Christian Steele. He will stay out. Here's the overcut. And it's going to be big now. He's already on the push to pass because he knows that now he's got to push to this lap. It's going to be key. He's got that clean air to work with and no traffic in front of him as well. So it's a matter of pushing as hard as he can. Hamilton Akabueze will stay out. Brian Carey's also come in as well as Trano's in for service to his car. We'll see what he switches to. I imagine potentially another set of alternates. And indeed it will be.
So, yeah, like you said, Christian Steele has to push hard here. Best lap he possibly could. If this is his in lap, no guarantees, but he needs to try to stay as close as possible to even have maybe an outside chance at getting the race lead away on pit strategy. His Trano's going to be out and pretty, I wouldn't say, not going to be clear. As a matter of fact, Sam Alexander got just in front of him. This could be huge as well. Yeah,
so slower car out on a slower tire as well. So this is not going to be the ideal scenario for Brandon Trano. Still needs to it still takes about a lap to get these tires warmed up to a decent temperature where you can really start pushing, but Trano, that's still traffic nonetheless. Steele in is going to be key for him to see he can nail this service here, and I imagine he's probably going to go on to another set of alternates.
Julian Altino's in. He went on to his first set of alternates for the day, so it looks like Akabueze stays out. He keeps the lead. Malechka's in, Malechka stays out as well. Blebel, Ike come in together. Oster, Orman stay out. and it looks like Seb Alexander will pit, so it looks like Trainer will get cleaner on the nose, but he will still have to deal with maybe Andrew Wood. But as Alexander had a bad exit to the final hairpin.
Here we go. Here's Christian Steele coming out of the corner, and here is Trano rocketing down the front straightaway. We'll ride on board with him to see where's Christian Steele. There's Christian Steele. He should end up in front of him.
This is going to be huge, but he has to wait. He had to wait for the blue cone. He can't cross over, so that is a huge, I wouldn't say a break for Trano because that's the rule, but it kind of saves him a little bit here.
Right on board here. I actually thought the way he was looking, it looked like he might have been able to reach that end just in time. But you look here, he's still in front, and then to the left-hand side, you have to make that blue cone like you mentioned, and then it's way off line for a reason. And that's allowed Brendan Trainer to get up in front, but that almost worked.
There's nothing he could do about it either, because if he went one more lap, he was just about to catch the rear of John Christensen and Joe Branch, who were in a battle for 15th. So he had to pit that time, gave it his best shot. Still has one more stop. Maybe he can do the same thing, but that was a big opportunity as Trano's still behind Andrew Wood. Yeah,
I was going to say still being held up by a slower car. Woods has to come in for his service. Trano trying to get in front of him, but I think Wood's coming in for service as well. He'll duck down to pit lane. So no clean air finally back for the number 9 machine. Christian Steele now in deep pursuit, trying to see if he can get past the 9. That was so close again. So now that we've seen him try that, you know, what can he change? What can he do? As he comes close off the pit lane, that's a lap car. It's the number 28 of Joe Branch. That's a bit of a lock-up himself. Branch running back in 16th. He'll get back out on the racetrack one lap down.
Yeah, so he gets back on the track, but Brendan Steele just got to put in consistent laps, and he's really got to try to pay attention to where he's going to come out, and he's got to pay attention to where Trano's coming out as well. Getting clean air on exit and in-lap, out-lap, it's so important in IndyCar, any IndyCar series, as we see these two who've been battling for a long time through pit stops, out of pit stops. Looks like Brian Carey in turn 1 just finally had the run, and Ike couldn't defend it, so Ike's fallen here during this race. But that's all the two's got to do. He's got to put in good laps when they're not strategizing, but if he sees any advantage over Trano through pit stops, he's got to take advantage of that big time. He almost did there. He did gain a decent bit.
Did everything he could do, unfortunately. It was just a little bit slower, a little bit too far behind, but made up a couple tenths. That was almost the difference here. They still got one more pit stop they have to make before the end of the race, as a lot of the primary runners, they have come in. So actually trying to take a look. Whoa. Oh. What is this? Is there a penalty?
This is, I don't know. He's back on pit road. This is huge.
Oh, man. I was not expecting this. What happened?
Did he not fuel the car, maybe?
No,
he
passed through. He didn't. This was a drive-through.
It's a drive-through penalty. What in the world? Did he cross over the line on pit exit?
Oh, you're right. Hang on.
I don't know what else it could be.
Take a look and see if we can find that. Hang on. I'll try to get it on the replay as much as I can, because this is very, very interesting.
This huge implications. Sends him down to 8th.
All right, so I got him down here, coming down pit lane.
Yeah, lap 20.
This is pit service, and then coming out here. Did he cross over the line?
You have to stay to the right. This blue line at the end.
Oh no!
He crossed before. He crossed with his left sides before it was there, so that must have been a violation. And he had to take a drive because of it. In the lead, clearly, maybe feeling the pressure, thinking Steele could jump in with the overcut, and he's potentially, I don't even know if it's potentially, he's almost certainly throwing away a race victory, or at least a top 2, and he's throwing away crucial points to Steele.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate. After dominating most of this season, he's really had a lot of, I mean, granted, he's had some poor runs, not necessarily due to his own running. A lot of it's been some other drivers getting involved, but he got crashed out at Gateway, had a win at Laguna Seca, then at Texas was crashed out, and now to here a huge mistake, and basically handing his championship rival the win on a silver platter. Of course, Christian Steele has to finish this race without any issues, but he's 7 seconds ahead of Akabueze.
That changes things big time. Thankfully, I think Trano's fast enough, he might not lose too many points, but
no,
he had a 143-point lead after Mid-Ohio in December. He was cruising, but it has just come crashing down the last 2 weeks, and even past that, probably given up some points where he shouldn't have. Maybe some out of his control, maybe not, but That's a basic mistake that you cannot make in any situation either. That is
especially when you're
so
competing for a
great.
championship, right?
Oh, 100%. It makes it even more worse. It exaggerates that even more. It costs him not only just a win, but he's down in 8th as Steele almost sent it into the tire bundle there in 5.
Yeah, I was going to say, Steele could probably dial it back just a little bit. You know, you don't want to dial that completely, end up making actually mistakes when you dial it back a little bit too far, but he definitely wants to make sure he doesn't make a mistake now. Brendan Training's actually just gotten past Jesper Orman, so up to 7th for the number 9 machine. Now effectively a recovery drive, trying to make up for lost time.
I won't put a podium out of the question. I think you could probably get the Ike. Carey and Malechka is where it's going to get tougher. Really, Malechka.
No, it's still not the worst thing. You'll get some decent points out of it, but he had essentially, I wouldn't say he had a win locked out, but he was definitely the favorite to win with the way they were running. And more importantly, he's just going to gain points over his competitor. Now his competitor is going to gain points over him.
So we didn't really know, but Rashad Craig, he pit lap 21.
Oh, he retired.
He's out of the race. He had a crash, I believe, looking at it myself. I think he had a crash in turn 9 on lap 22, and it took him out of this race.
Oh, that's really unfortunate. Let's see if we can pull that up.
I think cold tires must have bit him. Still a 7-second lead for Christian Steele, who all of a sudden finds himself in control.
Is it turn 9?
Turn 9.
I think we're coming to it this lap.
Who's on fresh tires, on over to the alternates.
Oh, yeah, right there. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we saw with Burrell early on. You have to be so careful through turn 9.
The only difference with Burrell, he went in front wing first. I think there was a little bit of Craig trying to save it and trying to refuse the crash, but it just wasn't possible. You get sideways on cold tires, you have no control at that point. It's pretty much over as we're seeing more battling. This is a tight spot to be battling. This is Blebel getting back by Andreas Ike for position. That is for 5th, and he's not too far away from getting Brian Carey. Yeah. He is on the alternate green wall compound. Brian Carey's onto the black wall, as is Ike, so he's trying to take advantage now.
Yeah, so Carey actually benefiting a lot. I think just the way he came in, he benefited a lot and is on the slower tire, but still ahead of Blebel and Ike, who are his main competitors in this race at the moment. Also note Robert Malechka, he switched over to the primary Blackwall tires. So he's the leading runner on those tires. Taking a look at the drivers that were previously on that tire, Rashad Craig was the leading one, but of course he crashed out, so Altona, now he's going to probably run alternates to the end of this race. He's back in 10th, but effectively, sky's going to be the limit for him because everyone else ahead of him has got to run primary tires at some point.
Including Andrew Wood, I believe, has to run that primary at some point. He switched back to another set of alternates, probably trying to stay with the 11 of Altona, but just not quite able to do so. So staying in front of the 64 as long as he did, he let a few guys by, let them get away, but it could work out all right for Altona for the time being.
Andre's like still in hot pursuit of Pedro Blebel, not letting him really get out of his sights. It's going to be a matter, can he get a better run out of that corner? No, Blebel went flying out of the hairpin. Great run for him, trying to skate away and catch Brian Carey up ahead. But as we approach the middle part of this race, it's calmed down just a little bit, other than what happened with Brandon Treno, and he's still in pursuit, trying to actually, he's right behind. These guys got a lap car in between, but Andreas Ike is his next victim on his recovery drive forward.
He's going to be driving angry now, so you don't really want to be in front of him that much longer. He was nearly 2 seconds faster than Andreas Ike last time by, so it will probably not take long for him to make that pass, but he does have to get by John Christensen first. 16th position a lap down, but he is up 5 positions from where he started, so still a decent climb for the 67. Let's Treno through.
Yeah, while the action is calmed down a little bit for this race, it's still not over for the rest of the season. 2 more races left for the Indy Elite Series. We head to Barber Motorsports Park on the 14th, so just in 1 week time. And then we got a little bit of a break for the big kahuna, the Indy 500. Now, that's not a 500K, it's a proper 500-mile race for the Indy Elite Series. 200 laps from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That'll be on May 5th in the finale for the season. And that's going to be paying out a lot of points, which is very valuable in a points race as tight as this. And as they run right now, it's going to get even tighter.
Yeah, next week is going to be very interesting. As I think Blebel had a contact with the wall maybe 2 laps ago. He's got left front damage. Maybe that's why he's not able to pull away too much from Ike on the wing, or not left front. I think the right front's a little dinged up.
Yeah, you can tell if you look at the way it is on the tire. So damage to him.
No, I think he did. I think he clipped the inside wall on 8.
Yeah, it definitely looks a little. It definitely looks a little bit off.
Sorry, Laverne got him and Treno almost had contact. He's just trying to get out of the way. Treno is almost to Ike.
Yeah, since we started talking about it, he's closed in a second. So definitely the faster car, but he's got some traffic to work through. And you can imagine the rest of these guys are not necessarily going to let him on by. I think if he's far enough ahead, they will. But this is good points for the rest of these guys as well. And they're in their own battle. All of them still chasing down Brian Carey. Bubble's not been able to catch back up to the 79. Carey's running a really good pace on these primary tires. And he actually went, let's see, I think it was 2/10 slower last lap through, and that's probably due to a lap car just ahead of him.
Joe Branch kind of a little bit slower, should not be too much longer before he gets by the 28. He's the first driver lap down, although it doesn't matter in this series. But either way, Carey, this is what he needs to do on this slower compound, as we've seen. We saw in the first, it definitely was slower compound. It doesn't really kick in as well as we thought it quite might. So Carey just has to kind of sit in line and try to slow down Blebel and others behind him as much as possible to make the strategy work. But so far, he is doing a good job.
And Joe Branch will let Blebel on by as well. Now we'll let Ike and Treno on by. Treno in behind. He's not using the push to pass, but gaining speed with just the slipstream. Will not make a move this time by, but you can bet come the front straightaway, he's going to try to blast past the 76.
I don't know if it's going to be a contest. We'll see how much Ike wants to put up with the 9 and how much as he tries to lock up, get as much as he can. He did get a decent run out of the corner, and he'll maybe have some slipstream from the 96 of Blebel up ahead, but how much of a run will Treno get on the push to pass, trying to get this position in a hurry, but I don't think he's quite close enough.
No, he didn't get a good run out of the... Whoa, he's going to send it! Hello! Never mind.
I don't know if it was planned to let him by or Ike just didn't want a part of it, but I don't think... Either way, I don't think he wanted to crash. I did not think there was a chance of that working.
That was a fantastic move here. Take a look at that.
That was
flying in there.
Out. That was from way out.
You can see the...
Gosh.
The brake rudder's glowing magnum hot. As he's trying to slow that thing down. And I always get very concerned seeing drivers dive into there because I've seen so many times where people try to outbrake each other and they just end up in the tire barriers. But of course, Treno, a very quick driver, so he's able to nail that in down, knows where he needs to brake. Up to 6 for him. Next has got Blebel and Carey head for 5th and 4th.
This is going to be pretty important to get up as far as he can, and he's going to... I'm saying it might be tough to get the 3rd. I don't know. It might not be too tough to get the Malechka. He is still running well faster. Even while going through traffic, he was still 0.2 faster than the 91 of Robert Malechka. And if he gets into clean air for 4th, it might not take too long. But still have a pit stop to go, and he's got to deal with that pit exit once again, as does everyone else.
There are Malechka running pretty well, kind of in the middle of nowhere at the moment. He's 11 seconds behind Hamilton Akboise, 5 seconds up the road from Brian Carey, so not too far from that battle in behind. You can see they're starting to get a little bit closer together. Checking in on Hamilton Akboise. He's also middle of nowhere, 7 seconds behind Steele and 11 seconds up on Malechka. So he's just kind of running his own race, and Christian Steele leading the race, 7 seconds the gap between himself and Akboise, and he's not slowed down at all. Still the fastest driver on the racetrack, only driver in the 107s at the moment. Everyone else 108, 109. Still just continuing the pace going forward. He knows as long as he just doesn't make a mistake, you'll have a very good point all out of here.
Yeah, and he just pulled out about half a second on Akboise lap time by. Akboise was kind of matching him, staying at the 7-second range, lost some that time by, as it should be pretty simple. Just keep the car on the road, and 2 should be just fine, as it'll be up to Brandon Treno to gain back any points, all the points he lost, or at least as many of them as possible, as it might not be too much longer until he gets that 4th position. Well, definitely won't be too much longer until he gets that 5th position from Pedro Blebel. Catching Brian Carey now at this point, at least it looks like it, but just a little bit too much dirty air on the nose, and the wing damage we talked about will probably make this pass a little easier for Treno than it would have been.
Wow, look at how much he closes in on the braking zone. A great shot from up above. I haven't really utilized the blimp camera on here. It looks absolutely beautiful. This track in general looks absolutely beautiful. And there you can see Blevel's going to peel on by, let him on through. Just feels like it's not worth it. Let's settle it down on the straightaway. And I think what he's trying to do is maybe potentially open the door, have Trano open the door on Brian Carey, and then Blevel can make a run on through. Trano now in behind the 79. Let's use the push to pass. He will. Down to 3 uses for Trano as he slips and slides getting on the power.
Got a little too happy on the throttle. He got very sideways, actually. Probably cost him a shot at Carey into turn 1. We've seen him dive from deep before. I think that's a little bit too deep for even his liking. But so this might be, like you were talking about, I think Blevel just wanted to see if he could give him, if Trano could give him an opportunity to get by Brian Carey for what would end up being 5th position, because he knew that was a losing battle trying to hold back to 9.
Oh, Carey just hit the wall?
Man. It was pretty close. He might have tapped it.
Oh, here comes Trano eyeing up a move. Will not be close enough on this occasion.
He might have tapped it with the left rear, but I don't think it did much damage, if any.
He looked closer than they usually do. That's already pretty close. Trano trying to use the slipstream here. Down through Seaside, and we'll now make a move. Oh, that's definitely a corner cut. There's no way that wasn't a black flag. You're usually not next to the inside wall there. So I would think so. You can see he's using a lot less brake than Carey. If he did not get a black flag, I'll be amazed, because I usually get a black flag from doing that exact thing, but I guess not.
He might be trying to make the pass before giving up the slowdown.
That's risky. That's really risky here. But here he goes for the move to the left-hand side, to the inside of turn 1. He will send it in there and make it on through.
We'll see. I mean, yeah, if that's not a corner cut, I don't think you can get a corner cut there, because he had all 4 tires inside that red and white curbing. Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
He might have gotten away with it.
Maybe iRacing was like, all right, the penalty, you already served it. Let's just give you a break. All right.
A break from the stewards. I'm genuinely amazed you didn't get a slowdown there.
Virtual stewards, yeah. The virtual stewards are like, yeah, let's give him a pass, let him recover, get the 4th. And now he has clean track to chase down Robert Malechka. No cars in between him and the 91. You can see Malechka up the road on the straightaway. It's a long ways up, about 6 seconds just over, but if anyone's going to get that down to nothing, it's probably Trano.
He's got 20 laps to make up 5 seconds, and with his pace, and especially with the tire difference too, because Trano is on the faster rubber, I think he should be able to get there, which is still very impressive. The fact that he got relegated so far down the order, got thrown back to 8th, and now back up to 4th, potentially 3rd, and in only one stint too. Very impressive run from Trano so far, but it's all matter just making sure now he doesn't make another mistake. You make another mistake, you're not making up for it.
I would not assume so, because, yeah, you're going to lose a lot more than 8th, probably. Might even go back behind Altena and Wood. Speaking of that battle, it's definitely subsided. Andrew Wood not having a great stint. He's now about 4 seconds behind Julian Altena, as this field is spread out much more. That battle for what's going to be 5th is probably still the closest battle on the track, but it doesn't look like Pedro Blevel was able to really take advantage of the 9 making the pass. We're not too far away from stops either.
No, we're not too far away. These guys got to come in for the second stop. The window is effectively open, so you can't pit now and make a run to the end of the race. I think these guys are going to stick out for about another 5 laps or so before we see them start to come in for their final stop.
The majority of them are going to have to go on the Blackwall compound. Steele definitely has to. Trano definitely has to as well.
The Drake is in.
And he was on the Blackwall and he was struggling, so he was starting to lose a lot of time.
Yeah, and that makes sense. So. He came in only 15 laps in. I think he's like, I want to get off these tires as soon as possible and get onto the alternate tires. So we expect him to go back in that direction. We'll see what he does. Brian Carey working his way on through. Now the rest of them trying to make up, minus Andreas Ike, and get those spots out on the racetrack. Trano leading this little charge of drivers. Carey and Blevel still falling in behind. And that last lap through, we'll take a look at the lap times. His progress on tracking down Robert Malechka. It was 108.2 for him last time through. Malechka 108.6 for him in 3rd place.
And that gap, he's taken it down about a half a second since I last saw it, so it's definitely going to be possible, but he's going to have to put his head down, and he's going to have a really good pit sequence as well. Can't have any time loss, let alone no penalties. You have to be perfect to make sure you can make that time up Leaders stay out. No,
And
not gonna expect them for too much.
Yeah, I was taking a
longer.
look at Akaways. He's actually keeping in. He's running as fast as Christian Steele at the moment, which is fine, although he's not making up time. But maintaining that second place as Christian Steele's ran a 107.927. He's a couple hundredths of a second faster than Akaways, and he's just carving his way through. And actually, there is Andreas Ike just ahead of him. And Ike is good to the end. He's the only driver good to the end. No more stops for the 76.
So see, at this point, going on to the fresher compound near the end of a race, he's going to really have to try hard to make up time now. He got out in actually pretty decently clean air, so he's going to have his best laps of the race now, trying to pull off this undercut and get track position. And then, if he can get track position over the guys he's racing, then it's going to be time to play as much defense as possible. But getting lapped by Steele would probably hurt his chances of doing that, so he's got to put good laps down to stay on the lead lap for the time being, so he can make that work.
Yeah, and I think for Christian Steele, I'm wondering when he's going to come on down, if he's just going to run the tank out of fuel. We don't really have a threat of caution here, so there's no strategy as far as that concerns, trying to play the game of when the yellow will fall. So I'm curious to see when he's going to want to come in for his final stop, and I think Malechka has come in for his.
Yep, so it's his final stop, so he'll go with a little bit of an undercut just to get some fresher tires. Treno's going to stay out a little bit longer. Don't think anyone else really followed the 91 down, so maybe trying to cover off Ike a little bit.
And for Treno, he has a chance of just trying to make up more ground here on alternates. And remember, though, both actually think him and Christian, Christian Siakaboise, Treno, they all have to come in and go to primaries. Otherwise, they're going to get a black flag. Because they do have to, I don't think they haven't switched over yet.
No, they have not. Kerry will be able to go to alternates, though, so maybe this could help him for the final run as well, but I don't think those top three are too concerned. Such a gap over the rest of the field, and as far as Treno's concerned, such a pace gap even after his penalty.
Oh, and actually,
should be fine.
Here's the thing we didn't consider too: is that Brandon Treno's trying to catch Robert Malechka. Malechka he ran primaries on the last run, so he can go do alternates to the end. Treno, he's got to do primaries to the end. So that's going to hamper his progress. I think the 9 is quick enough to still catch, but that's just not going to be. That's going to be another ball in his court, if you will. It's going to be another disadvantage.
Yeah, definitely going to be a little tougher to do that on that compound tire, but won't put it past him. Brian Carey pit from his position, which I believe was 4th at that point. Julian Alton is going to pit and go to another alternate compound for himself, so floodgates are opening at this point.
And here's another thing, too, added to the list of disadvantages for Brandon Treno. Treno's got 2 push-to-passes left. Malechka's not even touched the push-to-pass this entire race. 10 uses still left for him.
Shows how fast of a car he's had to be in that third position.
Actually, as I say that, he's using the push-to-pass right now.
Well, there he is. That's your fault.
I mean, you might as well start using them, right? Because you don't want to really finish with them. It's a wasted resource at that point.
Here comes Steele.
Yep, Steele coming in for his final stop. He just has to make sure he doesn't get the same penalty that Treno got out of the pits.
Carey and Ike. Brian Carey came out right in front of Andreas Ike. He was also close to that crossover line as well, but he got track position for now, but cold tires got to keep it. Ike's going to be trying his hardest to get the spot before they get fully warmed up.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. Ike needs to push, like you mentioned, just taking advantage of the cold tire situation that Carey's got to deal with, maybe force him into a mistake. And I think his next big passing opportunity is going to be down here on to Seaside Way. They will go down the straightaway. Neither driver on the push to pass.
Blebel, Treno, Oster all in that lap. Like, just not close enough, really, to make the move in the 9. And at this point, his tires are Carey's tires are probably warmed up, but he did not get a good run before the hairpin.
Oh, and Carey's going to get a better launch out. I think that's going to be said and done for that battle. Meanwhile, here's Robert Malechka coming out ahead of Brandon Treno, and here come the trio of drivers out of the pits. Here's Treno. We got Brian Carey, Andreas Ike. Other more drivers coming out.
Here comes Oster. Here comes Blebel.
Oster and Bubble coming out 9th and 10th as they run.
Oster will be on the alternate, but primaries for Blebel, so he will also have a struggle to the end of this race. Akaboy's 8 in.
Yeah, Akaboy's going in for what should be his final stop. Orman will continue onwards and will take the lead of the race temporarily. There's Christian Steele in behind, all set to go. Andrew Wood in 4th. He is yet to come in for his final stop. And Malechka coming up in behind him has made his final stop.
40 miles an hour pit road. It almost feels like they're crawling. Akabuese just watching Christian Steele go by as this battle's going to continue down the main straight. Andrew Wood is in as this battle is just going to continue on and on to the end of the race. All of them that are close right now, but Akabuese will probably not have much of a battle on his hands. With 91, Malechka, he might be... We'll see if Trano gets there. It's going to be tough. He's clear of Carey. Like, actually lost a lot of time to Brian Carey that time by.
So previous lap for Trano, we actually still have to get a clean lap for him. Ran a 136, but Malechka's pace 107.3. So he's pushing hard, I imagine. He's starting to run his fastest laps of the race. There's Trano in the back, and you see him just coming out to the separated by just about a straightaway or so. Trying to see if Trano can get the top 3, salvage a podium out of this race.
And that 107 flat is definitely his fastest lap.
Brian Carey also looking pretty quick as well. Actually ran a faster lap than Malechka last time through. Ran his best lap last time. So he might catch Trano potentially, depending on how much slower Trano is on the primaries. There's Orman in for his stop. It will be one of the last drivers of the leaders to pit. So everyone is in and they're all good to go. So you made your bed, now you got to lay in it. Now we'll see how the strategies kind of converge, because this is where it's all going to come to a head. There's Malechka, he will be easily ahead of Orman, who's still slowly coming out of the pits. Brandon Train will get on through, back to 4th for him. There's Brian Carey.
And Ike, so he'll have work on his hands to get in front of, to try to chase down those guys on the primary. So we'll get out in front of Oster.
So previous lap time, 107.5 for Brian Carey. Trano, 107.6.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be tough on that compound.
And then looking at Robert Malechka, 107.5 for him as well. And that's the main one person that Trano's trying to trace down. It was a little bit slower. So it's looking, it's possible, it's in the realm of possibility, but looking less and less likely as each lap ticks on by. And we're getting down to the end of this here. It's about 12, 13 laps to go here.
Got a battle in the 9. Orman and Oster. Oh, they might have hit.
Hello.
They might have hit down a straightaway
there.
Might
have be done. And there's Oster around with some contact. Around he will go in turn 9.
Look out.
Oh, and will hit the back, and his rear wing's gone now.
Oh, God, he was fine before that. He backed up too much.
Yeah, went a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah, watch. Oh,
sorry,
that's live.
went a little bit too far back with the replay. We'll go. There we go.
He got a big run here. They might have made contact because of, I don't know, I think he thought he had room to the right. I think it was indecisive. They did not make contact. He sent it up the inside, but just ran out of room. The rear wing completely fell off now on pit lane, but yeah, just he knew he had to get the spot now. I think Orman was on colder tires, but just did not have the grip into that corner. All the marbles are probably down there. Completely nothing down there.
See right there. There's a little bit of contact that sent Oster around.
He's thankfully spun it out.
And actually, Orman almost wrecked himself trying to get recovery. I think he's trying to process what happened down there, and missed his marker, and was able to gather it together again. Although Blovel's catching back up on him now in the 96 machine. So a potential battle for 7th place brewing in the future. And actually, Brian Carey's made another indent, although actually last time through not nearly as fast. I was going to say he ran a 107.6 last time through. Ran a 108.6 this time through, so not the lap he needs if he wants to try to catch Trano for 4th. Trano continuing on 107.9 for him, on pace with Malechka.
Yeah, he was a great 31,000ths of a second faster than Malechka, so definitely keeping pace, which is impressive on the slower compound, but probably not going to be able to make that up at this point. I would be shocked if he's able to do so.
Alexander's in the pits with missing a wing. I think something's happened to him recently. Oh, he's missing wing with 4. Oh. That was interesting. The car just did not turn there. Let me see what happened there. Oh, hit the wall.
He hit the wall.
Hit the wall
and then couldn't get it stopped in time, and then I think went down to the next corner and just ended up parking it where the tire barriers go off. Came out in front of, I think that was Joe Branch, but yeah, just decided to park it. Maneuverability.
Yeah. Went through the tire chicane and will retire the car. Back in 16th for him. So another retirement to the list. Looks like we've lost four. That'll be four driver that we've lost this race. Oh, Jacob Oster is. Oh, he's still in the pits from what happened earlier. Did not come out. Is going to retire in 16th.
Looks like it. Didn't have too much damage until he knocked the rear wing off of it, but he might just call it a night anyways. As kind of what happens at Long Beach, that attrition rate kind of creeps up out of nowhere sometimes, especially near the end of the race.
Yeah, they were doing really well attrition-wise. They only had 3 retirements, and now we lost 2 recently in the last handful of laps, and potential for more to be lost and as we approach the last 10.
Yeah, definitely still more potential. We see it all the time, so could get interesting. Still got battles to be sorted out. Pedro Blebel is continuing to catch Jesper Orman a little bit, but we'll see if he can get through the dirty air and get to that position. And Andrew Wood has gotten closer to Julian Altona, but Altona's on the alternates as Andrew Wood has to finish on the primary black wall, so that's going to be a tough pass to make as well. He's been seeing blue the entire race.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can imagine he's probably sick of seeing Julian Altona at this point. He's been chasing him down the entire race, and even now, though, he's still a bit on the back foot, not ideally on the tire he wants to be on. We would hope for the reverse, although...
Oh, Steele just put into the tire barrier
in turn
8. He put in the barrier from the race lead.
Oh, no. All we said he had to do was not make a mistake, and
my gosh.
He has made a mistake when it's mattered most. The car is still very much drivable, but this... Oh, was making a move on Joe Branch offline. Oh, that's a decent lick.
And what does he do? He has to pit. He has no way he can stay out. He's going to pit. He was going to gain on Trino. This is going to hand over the lead to Hamilton Akabueze all of a sudden. Oh, are you kidding me?
In the final moments, it's all changing rapidly. Steele into the pits, has to get repairs. Might have a meatball, too. He might have required.
You have to. It's got to be a meatball because you have to repair the wing.
Well, not even just the wing. I mean, the wing is easy to replace, but I'm worried about the suspension damage he's got because that was it. He hit the suspension as well, so that's going to put him back. Brandon Trino back around him now. Trino up to third as Steele is falling down the order rapidly. We'll see if he can get back out. There he goes, back out. But going to be relegated now to 6th, potentially 7th. I think I just heard Orman go by. There he goes, flying past the front straightaway. And Blubble back to 8th place, exactly where Brandon Trino was when his mistake happened, where he had to come back through for a drive-through after breaching the pit exit line. But wow, both of our championship leaders running into major issues here at Long Beach, going to cost them big. Trino will actually be benefiting a lot from this because he's going to be back in third. Now he just has to make sure he just finishes this race, slow it down, and pull the anchors, hold off that third place because I don't think at this point he's going to catch Malechka. And Akabueze, I don't think he thought he would have a chance of winning this race. Here he is in the lead.
I'm still in shock. I can't believe it. Passing a lap car, too thin of a line, I guess, and just could not make the... I just can't believe that. All the power in the world, got control of the race because of a mistake. I just can't believe that. That is so shocking.
And guess who's in third
would make mistakes
in the championship? It's Hamilton Akabueze. Although he is he's 126 points out. He's got a decent deficit. But hey, I mean, if we didn't think that he could win, we thought Trino or Steele would be winning this race, and none of them have a shot at this point.
No disrespect to Akabueze, but talk about a gift. He was definitely not going to be in contention for this. But the two title battle, the guys battling for the title in front of him, rare mistakes, and all of a sudden he's in control. Now it's 10 seconds back to Robert Malechka, who's probably going to hold on to second. Trino not gaining. And the worst thing for Christian Steele, the thing about Trino, his mistake, it was a drive-through and it didn't cost him as much time. And he had time. He had plenty of laps to make up that time to get back up to what is now third. Christian Steele does not have that time.
No.
He's got about 5 seconds to get the Blebel and Orman. Best he's probably going to be able to even do is 6, and I'm not even sure if he's going to have the pace for that. We don't know how much damage he has under that 2 car.
Yeah, I'm still concerned with the left side of that car if he got any steering issues. In fact, let's actually go to him. It'll be a little bit hard because there's not really a whole lot of straightaways on this track, a lot of turning involved, but see if he's got the wheel turned to an angle because that's going to throw him off. I'm not sure if he even really wants to push that hard, and he kind of has to push. Well, yeah, you can see the steering a little bit, looks like steering a little bit to the right.
Yeah, let's see at the time. This is a clean time. It is a 106.7, so
he's pushing hard.
In that car then.
And
Wow.
using all the push to pass he had saved up, trying to close the gap. 4 seconds the gap between himself and Pedro Blebel, as well as Jesper Orman. They're in a close battle, one of the closest battles on the racetrack at the moment.
Yeah, they're in a close battle for sure. This is...
And both of them are on a slower compound, so that's one thing going in Steele's favor. He's actually now made up an entire second since we last looked at him. So he's coming in hot.
Yeah, I think he'll still get the 6th. I don't think he'll get the Ike in 5th. Just so many points. It was going to be close to maybe 20 points at least. It might have been even closer, but you can't do that in title battles. You said the same thing with Treno. Those mistakes cannot happen. Brandon Treno is going to be bailed out and get a gift to gain points on Christian Steele here.
Yeah, after it was looking like he was going to lose some, he's going to gain quite a few on his main competitor.
Should. Keyword should.
Yeah.
At this point, we never know.
That is true. Still a lot of mistakes left to be had here at the end or the closing phase of this race. Christian Steele barreling down 2 seconds faster than the 2 cars ahead of him. Whoa! See the counter steer through turn 1, flying through there.
Brian Carey, I think, might have clipped the tire barrier out of 5. I don't know if he got too much damage from it, but definitely saw him get really slow on that.
He's got left wing damage. Not sure that's from earlier, that was from recently, but he's got a 5-second gap to Ike, so he should be good to be able to carry it home.
This is like when an F1 driver goes for the fastest lap at the end of the race. This is basically, except this is self-induced and he didn't want to do it, but I gotta believe 106.5 is the fastest lap of the race out of anyone.
Oh, 100%. Not even close. The next fastest is... I mean, it's a little bit close, but I think Malechko 107 flat almost to 106.5. And here comes Christian Steele, now a second behind.
It could really hurt Steele. They might hurt if they battle here because Blebel's... I don't know if it's gonna... I don't think he's gonna have a run into 1, but they're pretty close to battling. I think Blebel is a little bit faster at this point, and I don't know how much... Is he going to be willing to give this position to Steele?
No, probably not. I mean, you're never willing to give a position, right? but no. I don't think they're gonna necessarily want to keel over and pull it. We'll see. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. If they want to be involved in the championship battle or not.
Oh, he's pushing much slower last lap by a second compared to what he just ran. So this is everything he's got. This is really his only main objective. He almost certainly won't get the Ike, although he was still a second faster. But that really depends on if he can get by these guys quickly, which is going to be a tall task.
4 laps to go here at Long Beach. Round number 14. They work their way through turn 9. Trying to see how many points can Christian Steele make up this rate. Brandon Treno had 2/3 of the race to make a recovery drive for Christian Steele. Only a handful of laps to make up as much time as possible. Final push to pass used for Christian Steele activated, making up time on Blebel. This might not work out because Blebel's getting the tow from Orman up ahead.
How big a dive?
Yeah,
he
can't dive from that far back. It's a little bit far even for Treno probably to dive from that far back, but he is there and has the tire advantage over these two. But we always say catching is one thing, passing is another.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt about it, especially here. As
Think should make a move into this corner. He's got a bit of a run. Let's pull off the left. No, he'll stay in behind.
They're about to catch Sean Christensen. I think he hit the wall out of the last hairpin the previous lap, so he will have to give way to that 3-car battle. He's not too far up the road from him.
And I'm not seeing anything else close to battle on the racetrack here. This battle for 6th.
Oh, is he going to lay over?
He is going to pull over. He's going to be a nice guy. Let Steele on through up to 7th is now Christian Steele. Next driver, Jesper Orman.
Ooh, he went wide there.
I think he's trying to set up for a better run out of the hairpin.
Not going to be close enough.
No. And Orman's got 2 push-to-pass uses if he wants to use it to keep Steele in behind.
We also had I think Paolo Vinicius had a internet or computer issue. He dropped out, so that's not because of a crash. That is going to be driver number 7, I believe, out of this one.
Yes, driver number 6, I think. Yes, 6 retirees so far. 15 drivers still running, 10 of which still on the lead lap as Steele's flying through here. Riding on board with Orman.
You would think in the 9 would probably be where he's going to try another send here because he's not really getting the runs out of the hairpin that he needs to.
See if Orman is going to be nice to steal and pull over like Bubble did. I don't think he will do the same.
Well, coming to 2 laps to go. I'd be shocked if he did, as Boys already took 2 to go. Now 13 seconds.
Looks like he's going to make Steele work for it.
13 seconds ahead of Malechka.
Whoa, well, John is up ahead of Orman, and he will get on by him.
Yeah, she lost a lot of time.
And Orman is on push-to-pass use. A lot of drivers on push-to-pass use, getting those out of the way here, entering the final 2 laps of this race. Can Christian Steele get past Orman, getting one more spot here, just lessen the damage that much more. Meanwhile, Hamilton Akwazi is actually coming to the white flag this time by in the 107 for Team I5G. I had a feeling he was going to do really well this race. Didn't think it would be this well, I'm not going to lie.
This is safe to say, a heck of a turn of events. No doubt about it.
White flag in the air. Akwazi taking it through. One more lap to go here at Long Beach for him. No contest, nowhere near anyone near him. 13 seconds back is Robert Malechka as we look and see what happens here. Still to collect the white flag is Orman and Steele as they're working their way to the back part of the track. Orman still one more push pass Houston. You bet he's going to use it on the front straightaway to try to keep the number 2 of Christian Steele at bay.
He's going to have to. Steele got very close out on exit.
Actually, he's not using it, interestingly enough.
Maybe he thinks he doesn't need it.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I feel like he might have needed to. We'll see here. I don't know if Steele's going to try to make a move. This is his best passing opportunity. He will stay in behind the 53 here. Still got half a lap to go for them.
Steele might have to force the issue somewhere else as Ekaboise coming through the final sets of corners just now.
Lurking through the final set of corners here. Led only 13 laps of this race. Had to deal with the 2 fastest guys, the 2 championship contenders, duking out in front of him. They both made mistakes, and through the smoke will come Hamilton Akwazi to collect the win here at 107. A fantastic job just making sure he didn't make any errors. He will come home the winner. Robert Malechka further down the order, 14 seconds back. He'll come home for a solid second place finish. Again, another quiet day in the office for him. Collects second. And how about Brandon Trano? Recovery drive for him will still get a 3rd place finish when it's all said and done. Brian Carey will be working with Andres Lake. 4th and 5th for them. Orman will just be able to hang on to 6th place. Still not able to get past. That'll just be that much more damage to his championship hopes as he'll have to settle for 7th.
He tried hard in 7 and 8, but just couldn't seal the deal. What a disastrous race through all that. Trano's going to extend that point lead with 2 races to go, and that is a horror race for Christian Steele.
Blubble comes across the line in 8th. Altona will collect 9th place as he rockets across the start-finish line, and Andrew Wood comes out of the final corner. What seemed like it wasn't going to be too good of a race for him will salvage a 10th when it's all said and done, but Hamilton Akwazi here will take home the win here at Long Beach. A fantastic result for him. If you take a look at our finishing order, there's your top 10 as they run. And boy, does it not tell the whole story.
No, it certainly doesn't. Ekaboise, if you looked at the results without watching the race, you think he dominated. Certainly not the case, although he was podium-level speed, but definitely gets a little bit of a break with the top 2 having incidents, and he was faster than everyone else besides those 2, and he was the only one of those top 3 that was able to execute, and execution wins races a lot of the time, and that's certainly the case today.
You see him burning it down in the background, celebrating his first win of the season. Then you got the rest of the finishers, everyone a lap down and beyond. Adams Bonder, Joe Branch, Christensen, Gary Lovern, and then you run into the retirees, Vinicius, Alexander, Oster, Craig Murphy, and then at the end, Kevin Burrell retiring early on. As you can see, Akwazi parking on the start-finish line, celebrating it in. We'll pull in the drivers to interview here when they end up joining the server. But man, I think they're going to have to take a time to take a breather because I imagine a lot of them are going to be hot and sweaty coming out of the cars here working around this track.
Yeah, almost certainly. This track is a workout. We probably didn't even talk about that quite enough, but this racetrack will drain you working, especially for 56 laps. It's tough for those guys, but it's just incredibly shocking there to see what just transpired, no doubt about it. And I'm sure Christian Steele, when he kicked himself, Brandon Trano is going to be very, very happy with the way that played out. I don't know exactly how correct my math probably is, but it might have been about a 10-point swing, 9-point swing between those 2 in the title fight, and Trano will take that any day of the week.
Yeah, I think so here as we're wrapping up from Long Beach, and still a lot of racing left on the calendar. Again, we got Barber coming up next week, and then of course the Indy 500 not too far off in the distance. So you definitely want to stay tuned to that, especially as the championship battle ebbs and flows.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty fun title fight to follow. I am glad to be a part of it for the final 2 races of the season. It will be about 47 laps at Barber, and that track's usually pretty racy. You have some decent straightaways, some S's. I personally like driving it in IndyCar, and I don't drive an IndyCar a lot, but that's one of the fun tracks, so that should be fun next week. But it's really going to be a tune-up before the Indy 500 in May.
And we got Hamilton Akaboys with us. Hamilton, glad to have you with us, a race winner. First win of the season. I'm sure happy for that, but I'm sure for you weren't expecting to come home the winner up until the last couple laps.
Yeah, man, that was crazy for sure. Like, this is not the way I would want my first win to come, but I will definitely take it for sure. Yeah, it just sucks for Treno and Steele especially. But yeah, I mean, it's hard racing that many laps here at Long Beach, so I will take it for sure. Yeah, like when Rob let me buy, that really helped out a lot, and there was just like kind of running my own race from there, dodging lap cars, but had a ton of fun. Glad to get the win for sure.
Yeah, I can't really argue with the results at the end of the day, but for you, wanted to ask, obviously you've been kind of the third seed in this race between Brandon Treno and Christian Steele for the championship. Do you feel even, especially now that you're going to make up some points on both of them, do you still feel that you have a solid chance of getting this championship?
Nah, I mean, I don't think I have a chance of catching Steele with just, 2 races left, but some would have to go catastrophically wrong for me to catch Steele. Definitely no chance at Treno, but I think that definitely, helps me. Well, Rob finished second, so it helps me build a little bit of a gap to, hold on to P3 into the last 2. So, yeah, just looking to hold P3.
All right, well, Hamilton, a great win for you. First win this season. Hopefully, potentially not the last. We've still got 2 races left to go.
Thank you.
All right, and with that race winner, we'll go on to our second place finisher. And honestly, driver, we didn't talk about a whole lot. And I think Rob is probably for the best in this race, as the 2 championship drivers had their issues. He came home quietly in second place in the 91. Walk us through your day.
Yeah, I felt like I was pretty confident in that race going in. Usually my red tire pace is not great, but I felt like I could have the reds last pretty easily. But I think you can see at the exact moment of lap 2, turn 7, where I feel a migraine start coming on. And then about 2 laps later, my right eye is uncontrollably twitching for the rest of the race. So I was kind of giving up. I think I let Hamilton go. I told him right away, I'm just going to let you go because I can't really see when I'm turning right much. So it's probably giving up 3-4 tenths a lap. I don't think I could have hung on to Treno or Steele there because they're probably the 2 best guys at this track. But I think I could have easily kind of finished within 10 seconds of them. But yeah, it was unfortunate, but still a good P2, and I think that's good for points as well. So I guess we'll take it in the end.
Yeah, actually, I want to ask, are you feeling a little bit better after the race is finished now that you're out of the car, or are you still feeling...
Not really. My eye is just uncontrollably twitching. It's quite annoying. It's not even super painful, but it's more annoying than anything else. But hoping to get some fluids in me and maybe get some food and just rest a bit, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll let you go, Rob. Hopefully you feel better. But I mean, considering all you dove with, second place is a phenomenal job. So I'll let you get going. Hopefully you feel a little bit better. Congrats on your second place.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Take care.
All right, and last but certainly not least, we'll take a chance and talk to Brandon Treno, our third place finisher. Brandon, we saw you up in the lead, and then of course down in pit lane coming out, we saw you get a penalty. Walk us through what happened.
Yeah, just trying to be too aggressive on pit exit. Just spur of the moment kind of thing, where you just don't really realize where you are. You're worried about racing steel and falling into line with traffic. Just misjudged it. The pit exit line here is kind of dumb in my opinion with how far it goes out, but it is what it is. My mistake.
Yeah, and walk us through how that is, with a lot riding on your shoulders. The gap has been closing in the last couple of weeks. You've been having really rotten luck when it comes to the ovals. All of that bearing down on you. How is it, trying to reel yourself back in and just push yourself to make up points without making another mistake?
Yeah, the last couple races have really been unfortunate. Just really bad luck. Not really anything of my doing, except for this time. Just gotta chip away at it. It's not really a confidence thing. It's more of just like try to avoid silly mistakes and not put myself in bad situations, which once again I really didn't do. But we'll rebound for Barber and Indy as well.
All right, looking forward to it, especially because you've been doing really well on the road courses this year. So we'll see how Barber works out, and of course, Indianapolis down the road. Brandon, thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, guys.
All right, and with that, I'll wrap up interviews here from Long Beach. A very entertaining race, especially in the championship picture. Both of our championship competitors running into issues this race. You really can't script it better than that, can you, Connor?
No, certainly not. I wasn't really expecting it. They were both 1-2 pretty easily. Treno's shocked me. A pretty easy mistake to make because I kind of agree with him. That pit exit line is a bit far out there compared to what I think it is in real life. But either way, like he said, his mistake shouldn't have happened. But he was able to recover to fourth, or what we thought was going to be fourth. Christian Steele all alone, had the race in hand, was going to gain crucial points in the title race, going to 2 races to go. Puts in the wall in turn 8, passing a lapped car. So very, very incredible what we've seen. Long Beach does not disappoint. Long Beach is never short of drama, whether it's early in the season, late in the season. It got pretty crazy tonight, and we've got another extended point lead after that one as well. I believe Treno will extend that lead, but how about Akabueze? He was the one who, like I said, he was the one who executed, and execution wins races all the time, and he was able to do just that, and he was fast to boot. Podium driver anyways, but finally gets that first win.
Yeah, still this championship is still far from over. The gap may have expanded, but we still got 2 races left, and also the big points payer out. The Indy 500 in the distance. Next race is just next week here on Sim TV, April 14th, Barber Motorsports Park. Be there for that here as this championship season is coming to a close. We got some more action here coming from the Indy Elite Series, but for now, my name's Finn Yukuna here with Connor Horn, and we'll be signing out here from Long Beach. Thanks for watching.